barrel balancing and bean bags, resulting in burger banquet bonding. We have it all here on Drop Your Buffs, a podcast discussing Australian Survivor. On this episode, we'll be discussing the Australian Survivor episode that aired on Monday, 5th of September. So if you haven't seen this episode yet and don't want to be spoiled, please leave the Tribal Council area immediately. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already, and you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just go to dropyourbuffs.com for more details. My name is Stuart, and with me tonight, my co-host Craig. How's it going, Craig?
Hi, Stuart. Do you have a strange craving for Hungry Jacks at the moment?
Well, it's certainly been pushed down our throats, not really in a way that I
Down
appreciate.
our mouth hole, I think, is what Nick described it as.
That's right. Yeah, no, it has been pretty full and fierce, and with the product placement, the US Survivor. I guess we don't probably see the same ads that they would see, so maybe that doesn't translate as much. But
Oh, look, I'm going to go all Gruen for a moment. You know, Will Anderson's show on the ABC, but I just reckon that was the most amazing piece of advertising in the history of the world. I mean, you know, you had these people who are basically starving. They're served these amazing hamburgers, and the expressions I think were genuine. I don't think they were putting that on. They were genuinely excited and over the top about it. I mean, you couldn't script a bunch of actors to do that better than those guys did for them. Just the sheer excitement of eating a Hungry Jack's hamburger. It was brilliant. Absolutely, I thought it was brilliant advertising.
when they basically haven't eaten for 2 weeks, or is it?
That's right.
You know, that's right.
I mean, I'd be pretty happy about it too, but I just thought, as a piece of product placement, that was just out of this world, I reckon.
Well, with the US Survivor, they hardly do that anymore, do they? Because I can remember many seasons ago, they heavily featured Doritos and Mountain Dew and things like
Yeah.
that. But they don't really seem to do that now, do they?
No, not recently. Well, gosh, maybe it gets edited out because it doesn't translate to the Australian audience. I have no idea, but yeah. Well done, Hungry Jacks. That was a whopper.
Oh, no. Now, this episode, we start with Sanapu, and Nick is on the beach with the girls catching crabs. He was actually very good at catching crabs, wasn't he?
Yeah, look, they were letting him do it. They thought he was being very useful, and they were happy to let him do it. And I think it was Brooke who said, "I'll sit back, I'll relax. Off you go, Nick. Do your thing. This is awesome."
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure whether that'll help him, but I guess he was eager to do anything to try and stay in the game at that point, wasn't
Well, at that point he was certainly in a pretty precarious position, so he had to do whatever he could to stay there.
Then they zip over to Vavau. We've got Andrew again flexing his strategic powers. Which we don't hear much from Andrew, and every now and then he sort of surfaces, and we see a bit of magic. And
He's one to watch. I think he's playing a very clever, subtle, in the background kind of game. I think he's playing well.
yeah, he definitely looks like a thinker, and hopefully the others don't sort of pick him as being too much of a thinker. Maybe he does seem pretty serious, doesn't he? So,
But you know, he immediately sussed out Connor and Sam and sort of saw them as people he could work with, and went to them and said, "You can trust me." He's going good, Andrew.
Now, Craig, when you've got some time to kill, do you run around looking for the nearest tree that you can do chin-ups on?
No.
No. It's not something that really springs to my mind either. But for Sam,
But Sam does.
Yep, that's
Sam
right.
does. Was that before or after they had all the Hungry Jacks? I can't remember. He got a bit. Was that before?
That was before.
That was before he got all hyperactive after.
I mean, you would think that they'd be trying to conserve their energy as much as possible in these situations, wouldn't they?
Well, look, when I saw him do that, my reaction was, I know what he's doing here. He's trying to show strength, and I'm amazing, and I've got all this energy, and you need me for challenges. That's what I thought the subtle message of that was.
It could be. And around this time also, Kate Spoil makes its first appearance.
Yes, it did. And what a boil it is.
Yes, well, I guess more will come out of that later on.
Oh, dear. Did you mean to say that?
Yeah, it's all right. But it seems like certainly they were sort of promoting a bit of a connection between Kate and Sam, though. Like, you know, Sam's tender side came out. So
yeah, he was he said, "Oh, look, I'll look after you, and I hope you're going to be okay," and said some things like that. That was very nice. There's been a lot of that go on. I remember way back at the start, someone was struggling. Might have been Christy, I think, back on Agonara at one point, and Elle was there helping her out and consoling her. They're all pretty supportive, really.
Yeah, I think in general they do seem to be more supportive than the US castaways. Is my feeling.
It does strike that way, but yeah, it's a big boil, and she says it hurts, and she looks worried, and obviously more came of that later.
Well, that brings us to the reward challenge, which was as you mentioned earlier, Craig. That was the infamous Hungry Jack's reward.
Yes, yeah, boy. I mean, just you knew it was something big just from the size of the curtain they had over it, and it was all perfectly arranged. Some food stylist was probably flown in especially to do that and arranged it, and it just looked amazing. Everything was perfect. I mean, you never get a burger that looks like that, and there they all were lined up on a beach in Samoa, looking amazing. It was a amazing bit of, as I say, amazing bit of product placement, I reckon.
I thought it was hilarious how the first prize was a Whopper, second prize Whopper Junior.
That's right.
And Aganoa, they seemed pretty shocked about Barry being voted out in the previous episode.
There was a bit of shock at Barry's exit, yeah, and someone made a comment that they thought he was the heart and soul of the tribe, and we've talked about that previously, and someone on that tribe had said that. And yeah, there was genuine surprise that he'd been voted out there.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot more going on that we just didn't see on TV because they were probably more shocked than what we were as viewers, I think.
But the bit I don't think anyone was buying was when Flick said, "Oh, it's great having Nick and Tegan on the tribe." Didn't sound sincere to me.
No. Well, this reward challenge was the one with the barrel balancing and the planks, and then throwing the bean bags onto the barrels at the very end. And
another awesome close challenge.
Yes, it was good, but it was just a shame to see Aganoa lose again. Of course, Sanapu won.
They did. Val came second.
Yeah,
and Sue was throwing sandbags backwards.
Yes, that's right, which doesn't help. But
I'm not sure how she did that.
But Lee's amazing throwing skills, unfortunately, were not enough for his tribe to win because they were just too far behind at that time.
He got them close. I think they were only one barrel short in the end, but it was too much of an advantage. I mean, Sinapu, I think, were miles ahead, weren't they?
Yeah.
In the end, they were too far in front to come back.
Well, should we just go straight on to the immunity challenge then? Because I think that there wasn't much that really all that happened.
Except everyone went completely mental eating Hungry Jack's burgers.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course, yeah.
Nick particularly was likening those burgers to some of the greatest moments of his life.
Yes, yeah. He was just going too far, the way that Nick tends to do with most things.
He was carrying on about all sorts of things. And even only with a Whopper Junior over at Vivau, we had Sam turning into someone called him a giant child. And he was there ripping coconuts apart and saying, "Let's ride the high," and getting all excited. And he only just all he had was a junior burger. I don't know what they put in them, but I want some of those burgers.
Was it just the burgers, or was there something else they had with it as well? Was it?
Well, I don't know. I thought it was just burgers, but maybe it
wasn't burgers with all the fixins, was it?
It might have been. It might have been.
So we had the immunity challenge coming up next, which was the one that had where we had the long rope and the team had to hold one of their other team members suspended from this.
I loved this because this was, I think they finally found a way to combine those endurance challenges, and they're the ones I really love when we get to individual immunity later in the game, but they found a way to combine that with a team thing. And I loved the way they brought those two things together. This was just an awesome challenge. And Craig was amazing the way how long was he there holding that rope for?
It was almost an hour, wasn't it?
Unbelievable.
He was like a rock, wasn't he?
And looked like he did it with ease.
Yeah.
Whereas poor old
Nick.
Nick had nothing, and then one by one his tribe members dropped out, and they just had no chance in the end.
I mean, Nick certainly gave everything. You could see he had nothing left. He really gave a lot into that challenge. Just with the endurance challenges though,
and you should say also Rowan did a fantastic job in Aganoa as well.
Yeah, that's right. But with the endurance challenges, I mean, this one went for almost an hour. I can remember back to the early Survivor seasons where they would have challenges that would go for like 9 hours, or
I think the longest one I can remember was 17.
Which one was that?
I can't remember which series. It wasn't the second series. I can't remember what series it was, but there was one that went. It was right at the very end when there were only 3 or 4 survivors left, and they had to stand on a balancing platform basically, and they just hung on.
Yeah, and it's almost like that decided to pull back on that and try and have challenges that just can't go on for that long
No.
because they just don't have those anymore.
No.
But
that was amazing.
one thing with this challenge though was that the camera really focused on the people holding the rope, but I thought it must have been pretty hard for the girls who were hanging on at the other end on the balancing thing because
They're out there for an hour,
yeah exactly
just suspended there.
Yeah. So that wouldn't have been easy either.
No,
I don't
definitely
think.
not. Oh, as I say, I thought that was an absolutely awesome challenge. I really enjoyed that one. It was great.
Well, that one Snapu lost.
They did.
They lost, so
They really suffered from a lack of sort of really strong members of the tribe, didn't they?
yeah, that really was a challenge that was geared towards strong men basically. I mean that was what that challenge was good for. But then the challenge had barely ended, and Kate's boil appears again.
Yes, it did.
Because JLP
had noticed it.
He sees it, yes. Now, we had a bit of field surgery here, didn't we?
We did. I'm not sure I'd be that keen on having that sort of procedure done on me on a sandy beach.
Well, in previous survivors, I'm not sure whether they have really gone to that extent in terms of, of that sort of level of intervention before.
I'm sure they have.
They done that?
I'm sure they have. I was a bit worried
how far they were going to go, but
I was a bit worried they were going to show a lot more than they actually did. As it was, we had a bit of a commentary from JLP. Oh, a lot of pus has come out. No, I mean, I didn't need to know that. Did you?
Well, he was even wearing gloves as well.
He was, yeah.
Now, has Jeff Probst worn gloves before?
Oh, I can't remember. No. I can't remember. But anyway, she seemed to take it. I mean, obviously she's got some experience with surgery as a result of her previous life experiences, and she's tough.
But didn't she say afterwards though I thought she did say it was extremely painful.
She said it hurt, yeah.
So,
but she seemed to take it really, really well. I mean, you got to hand it to her. She hasn't been eating or sleeping for about 2 weeks. She's there on a sandy beach with an enormous boil under her arm, which is getting lanced on the beach. Amazing.
No, it's not good. Then we have our tribal council.
One more thing though, before they went to tribal council, did you notice Tegan using a snorkel mask to do her hair?
I did see that actually. I did see that. Well, I'm not sure how effective that would be, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I just thought, oh, there you go.
I haven't tried that before.
No,
but,
I haven't done it either.
But of course we've had people flossing other people's teeth as well.
Yeah,
so
we have. It's a whole beauty treatment, isn't it?
Anything's up for grabs, I think. But you have to look best for tribal council. Although like you've got the sort of low light and so on, so it is pretty sympathetic, So, but we had. Have you got something to talk about with the actual discussion before we get to how the votes turned out?
Well, look, there are a few things said. I mean, Tegan said she felt welcome and was on the same level as everyone else in the tribe. Okay. Nick said, "I'll fight for Sanapu," but it was clear he wanted revenge.
Yes,
against his own tribe. Kylie was not wearing her idol.
No, that's right.
And Tegan, towards the end there, she pleaded her case about why they should keep her. And then Nick's pleaded his case and said, well, they should keep me because the other team's going to be gunning for me because they hate me over at Vivau, so you should keep me around. That's in your interest to do that. So anyway, we voted. The obligatory questions asked, does anyone have the immunity idol? And Kylie played it, which I think was, well, as it turned out, I think was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think it was certainly at least a 50-50 chance that she'd be the person to go home.
And,
so yeah, it was.
And the way the first round of votes played out, Nick and Tegan did actually vote for her.
Yeah,
so she got two. The 6 votes were split: 2 Kylie, 2 Nick, 2 Tegan.
That's right. It's hard to get a sense of how Kylie is liked on the trial. Like it
is, isn't it?
It seems like she's not particularly low, or she just seems like she doesn't fit in at all, does she? She's not really part of the tribe. Whereas initially, when the series first started, we sort of thought of her as being this sort of mother figure that would have more of a.
I don't understand the Kylie story. I have to be honest.
It just hasn't been shown on TV. I don't think.
But because I agree with that, she seems to be really positive. I think she's performing amazing in challenges. I think she's coming up a little bit against the Flick Brook brick wall there. They are very strong too.
Yeah, they are certainly gal pals,
They,
aren't they?
they are gal pals. They are a lot younger than Kylie, and I think she's coming up against that a bit. I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think that Flick and Brooke really have to play a bit carefully though, because it's obvious to everyone else as well that how tight they are, and it's
The point will come when someone will want to break that up.
yes, that's right. That's right. Well,
So we have a three-way tie.
three-way tie,
But Kylie's played her
Kylie's
rival,
safe.
so she's safe from the vote.
And then we had the revote.
The revote.
The revote. So only the people that, well, besides Nick and Tegan, were allowed to vote.
That's right, and they can only vote for Nick and Tegan.
That's right.
We don't know exactly how many votes they got. We know Tegan got 3, at least. They didn't show the 4th vote.
Did they show at the end? Because
No,
I had a feeling that it was all 4.
No, I think the votes they showed with the confessional at the end were for the first vote.
Right. Okay.
So,
Yes. So Tegan. Sad music for Tegan. Unfortunately, there's not that much to say because we didn't see very much of Tegan throughout the whole season. And as JLP, I think, said that she tapped out too early.
oh, okay.
And her modelling skills were simply not enough on this occasion. Tegan, the tribe has spoken. Best moments, Craig.
Best moments. Oh, it's got to be Nick's excitement after eating the Hungry Jacks. It was just completely over the top, but hilarious.
It was.
Hilarious.
Mine is somewhat related. It was Craig though, and he was professing his love of pickles. And
That's right, he did too.
Dill pickles, and he was hilarious. He's a very entertaining
Who
player.
likes
actually,
pickles on their hamburgers? Honestly, is it? I've never liked pickles on my hamburger.
I love pickles.
Do
They're
you?
fantastic.
Do you?
They're the best part.
No.
Best part.
No.
Craig is becoming one of my favourite survivors because he's just so entertaining on camera. You know,
He's great. He's great fun.
Yeah.
And he's got such an expressive way about how he goes about everything he does, the way he says things, and he uses his hands a lot. And yeah, he's good fun.
Well, that's why they always cross to him for his expression shot because his expression shot was always good.
And it also always tells the story if it's like a shocked look or an excited look or what are you talking about look.
There were a few tweets I saw. There was one about Tegan. They had it was a tweet that had an image as if it was a video, and the caption was Tegan's greatest moments from Survivor AU, and the video caption just had sort of static and it said video does not exist.
Oh, that's mean.
So
That's
yeah, I mean
mean.
it was a bit mean, but it's probably not her fault. That was just the way it fell out in the editing. And it's yeah. But what do you say?
And I think one of the problems that all these people who are voted out early, they don't have much airtime because they go early in the run, but also we started out with 24 people, and it's just not possible to show all of them.
No, that's right.
So they're obviously not going to get as much airtime.
No. Something else that came up on the tweets that I thought was interesting was, which I agree with as well, was someone said that the contestants are way too chummy with Jonathan. Jeff would never allow this. And I think that is true because I guess mainly in tribal council, but also during the sort of challenges and so on, just that relationship or that level of interaction between the castaways and JLP, it is a bit chummy.
I like it though,
and he's a bit jokey with them and so on. Whereas with Jeff, it's a bit more like a school teacher in classroom situation, and he doesn't take anything from anyone basically.
No, that's true. But I quite like the chumminess. I think it's more us, isn't it? Yeah,
but I don't know, because the whole thing is that JLP ostensibly is running the show, is running the challenge, and so he can't sort of let that division between him and the rest of them.
He's not running a boarding school.
No, but there'll be times when things come up and he has to make a decision, and he just has to make a very clear decision about something.
I think he's doing that. I mean, he showed that in that episode when he said, "No, you need to go and talk to medical." Kate, you've got a boil there that needs to be looked at. I think he can do that while being a little bit chummy with them all. I haven't got a problem with that.
And any other Survivor news, Craig?
Survivor news. It's not really that exciting, I guess, as far as news goes. But a picture has popped up
Picture.
A picture has popped up.
And
It's
the picture
Flick.
tells 1,000 words.
A picture does tell 1,000 words.
Or is
and
it a million
it's-
words?
It's Flick as a meter maid with former Queensland Premier Anna Bligh.
Really?
Yep, that's right. Yep,
I don't think I've seen that
Shut
one.
up today. Saw it on Twitter today.
It's on Twitter.
Saw it on Twitter.
And how long ago would that have been?
Well,
then? 'Cause
Anna Bligh was...
she's been out for a few years
been
now,
gone a
hasn't
few
she?
years
So,
now. So,
yeah.
probably when she was... probably 5-6 years ago.
Right.
So, that was my
Well,
Survivor
okay.
news of the day.
Very good. Well, I think that's all for this episode. I think we've covered everything that we want to say. Thanks very much for joining us today. It's been great having you, Craig.
It's been good being here, but I feel like some Hungry Jacks now.
Well, we'll see you for the next episode, and thanks everyone for listening.
Catch you
See ya.
later.
Bye.